the first question I have is concerning the sisters who are experiencing their menses during this blessed time, and what a waste. They will not be able to recite Quran, they cannot fast, so they feel depressed. Is it possible, or is there a way that women can recite Quran while in the menses, not to miss that great reward? First of all, when a woman is fasting, when a woman is experiencing the menses, she is not allowed to fast, nor is she allowed to pray. But Aisha radiallahu anha narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us, women with menses, to make up the missed days of fasting and not to make up the salah. This is the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For those who miss the days of Ramadan because of the menses and they make it up during any other time of the year, their reward is not diminished the least. They still maintain the same reward. It was not their choice. You don't have to do anything special to change your period. Then simply observe what Allah the Almighty allowed you to do. Al-Dhikr, Al-Dua, Al-Istighfar, seeking forgiveness, celebrating the praise of Allah, reciting dua and supplication. With regards to the recitation of the Quran, which we have discussed over and over and over, but it is worth of repeating here, that the vast majority of the Muslim jurists are of the view that if women are experiencing their menses, they are not also allowed to recite Quran by the heart. We said before there is almost a general consensus that they cannot also touch the Quran without tahara. But we're talking now about reciting by heart or reading from a smart device, from a phone or a tablet. Is that permissible? The vast majority are of the view that women during their menses are not allowed to recite Quran even by the heart. They relied on that on a couple evidences. The first is a weak hadith, which does not stand as a reference to ban women who are most of the ummah from doing a great act of worship such as the recitation of Quran during the menses, which is the hadith that says that the Prophet ﷺ does not allow women during their menses to recite the Quran or to enter the masjid. Also, they said by analogy, because the Prophet ﷺ would recite Quran all the time unless if he was in a state of janaba. So they said by analogy, but there is a major difference here in this analogy, because if a man is experienced major impurity, have intimate relationship or sexual discharge or a wet dream while asleep or awake, it is his choice to lift this major impurity whenever he wants to, and soon it must be lifted in order to offer the following prayer. But in the case of a woman whose period may last for 8, 9, 10 or even 15 days, does not have this luxury of removing the major impurity and performing ghusl whenever she would like to. So what is the condition? According to Al-Imam Malik and one of the opinions of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, which is adopted by Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, and his student Ibn al-Qayyim, and a long list of the scholars, including contemporary scholars, they are of the view that these evidences are not strong enough to prevent women from the recitation of the Quran during the menses. Keep in mind that women have to revise what they have memorized. They have to memorize if they are in the process of memorizing. So they said it is permissible accordingly, also because the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha radiallahu anha, when she started crying on the day she arrived to Mecca to perform Hajj with the Prophet ﷺ. He said, have your period started? She said, yes. He said, don't feel sad. That is something which Allah the Almighty has decreed and ordained for all the daughters of Adam. Simply do everything that the Hajj, whether male or a female, would do in a state of tahara, other than the tawaf. You postpone your tawaf until you're pure. So the Prophet ﷺ did not mention the recitation of the Quran in this hadith. And this is a very interesting reference according to the diversion, meaning then anything other than the tawaf is permitted. Especially that the Hajj, the Hujjaj, would not only perform tawaf and sa'i, they would also recite Quran, recite adhkar. So that is an inclusive permission, according to those who use this as a reference that it is permissible for women to recite Quran during their period or their menses. Yet, they said it will be best if you can only recite it because you are memorizing or because you are revising what you have memorized. In the light of the previous evidences, we would like to make it easy for women during their menses to revise their Quran and to recite. Hopefully Allah the Almighty will reward them as well. But it is worth of mentioning that we like to present the different opinions with their proofs and references so that we understand those people did not stem from nowhere.